My name is James Ohioma. I was born in 50 years ago, and to what I would call modest parents. I've lived in Nigeria for a greater part of my life. I attended school in Benin and proceeded to my high school in Agbaro, Unity School Agbaro, after which I attended university in 1984, studied petroleum engineering from the University of Benin. My graduate studies were in the University of Lagos, where I did an executive MBA. Prior to that, an advanced diploma in management. And then I went on to Canada in 2003, but it was in 2006 that I started my master's program in University of Calgary. Well, first of all, if you're blessed to live 100, at the attainment of 50 years, you suddenly realize that you've lived half of your life. And to me, that is a time of not only for celebration, but also for reflection. Well, on the celebration part, you need to be grateful to God to have lived up to 50. Because life consists of those moments when blood is flowing in your veins. For a young man that was born in Benin City, which is a fairly relaxed civil service environment, and also coming from a middle-class family, my dad, a government worker, and my mom, a head teacher. I pretty much, was born in that environment until I went to the fast-moving, life in Lagos after school as a youth corper. From that time on, life just took a different shape because Lagos was fast-paced. I needed to get out of my shell, jump on the motorways and do whatever I needed to do to survive as a Nigerian. So going through all that experience in Nigeria and, having lived through all the different seasons, in Nigeria at the time, structural adjustment program, all the hardships and all of that. I think it kind of positioned me, especially when I went to Canada to get me prepared and ready to face adversities and, also seize opportunities, because having lived through in that environment, you'll be more, it made me really alert to opportunities when I see them. Judging from my background, where I'm coming from, so as not to waste time. So that really helped. I'm grateful for the environment Nigeria created to kind of groom me, and the kind of schools I attended, the kind of teachers, mentors I had. So all of that is a cumulative experience for me, rather than an isolated experiences. It's all of that mix for me, which I think I am really grateful for. In the next 50 years, I am open to implementing the best options, to leave the kind of legacy that I talked about for my people. I am particularly concerned, if not worried, about the misery index, which seems to be on the rising trend in Nigeria. From my availability to statistics, the latest report released by the Lagos Business School showed that the misery index has actually doubled in the last 8 years. So the figures were about, it rose by about 13% in the previous administration, but almost 27% in the current administration. And when we talk about the misery index, we're looking at all the components of it: the unemployment, the lending rates, the real GDP growth, and the inflation rates. If we take all those things together, one by one, you find that unemployment, for example, has increased tremendously. So there are a lot of eligible youths who are roaming the streets unemployed. In terms of the inflation rate have soared, so much so that money has lost its real value by so much, and all that is putting a lot of hardship on people. So the same goes with lending as well. So the real GDP growth has, even though government has announced some gains, these gains may be impressive, but they are actually non-inclusive in the sense that they will just, for example, there could be gains in cash flow, for stocks and, but the real growth, it's non-inclusive because manufacturing, people in business are complaining, and I have tried to. I mean, I do some things in Nigeria, and I know that I see the difficulties on the as on the driver's seat, not as not as an onlooker. So I'm on ground. I visit all the time at every opportunity. I've been to Nigeria more than 6 times this year, and I come often, and because I'm actively involved in things going on here. So I think urgent intervention is needed. We need more participation. I see myself. I desire, to participate more strongly or more actively in the leadership of this country in whatever sector, oil and gas, or even in non-oil sectors. For example, power is completely a fail. It hasn't. I haven't seen any change when I left in 2003 up to now. There has been, some modest gains, but it's less than commensurate with expectations that supposed to drive the economy to an active, in a strategic sense. So, for all these reasons, I desire to be a strong participant in, in the post-election era in Nigeria, to kind of deliver those gains that would help my people and improve the quality of life for people. So I anticipate to do this. I look for opportunities to consult or render my services directly or indirectly in this regard. Well, I like to thank family. I like to thank my wife. My wife has been very supportive to me. We've been married more than 15 years. She's a petroleum engineer by every standard, a graduate of Robert Gordon, merit graduate of Robert Gordon University. And regardless of she's also a project management expert and a real estate professional, and she is multi-talented. But despite all this, she's been very supportive, especially in moving with me across the globe. As you know, we worked in almost every continent. Some of those times she's had to sacrifice her career. For a good part of her stay, for example, in Saudi Arabia, in the first few years, she had to sacrifice her career and support me as a breadwinner. Only until recently, she started to, to be busy and to work as a petroleum engineer. But my family has been there for me. My mom is my strong pillar of support, having lost my dad. And my immediate community, Carlton Gate Estate, you won't believe it, they flooded that place for the celebration. And all my friends over the years came all the way from around the world, from Australia, from Saudi Arabia, from United States, from Canada. So I remain grateful for all of the service providers as well. Dafe, also of this hotel, Lagos Oriental Hotel, was phenomenal, even in giving me suggestions on how to cut costs and work within budget. So I am very grateful, and I thank you very much.